mail. Now you got a guy, you got on the ground, he could have used tree branches or anything else. This took place during the war hundreds of thousands of times. He's standing here holding this. You've got a loop of rope over to that another guy holding that blue pole right there, the blue pennant. The airplane with a rope and a hook, it flies between the poles, snags that rope and hook, and takes it up. And that was developed by Lytle Adams in 1938 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, to fly the Ohio Valley with mail planes. Now you get a chance to see the airplane. Here comes R.J. Gritter, and you'll be able to talk to him in just a few minutes when we open the field up. But here's R.J. Give him a big hand here, folks. Wave to him. R.J. Gritter into Decathlon. Isn't that a beauty? Everybody's favorite little airplane right there. And you notice the symmetrical airfoil. It flies upside down as well as right side up. And of course the fuel injection.
I thought my airplane was everybody's favorite.
Which one is yours?
That one, right there.
That's not an airplane. It's leftover parts from World War I. We've never even flown it. It was just assembled as a demonstration piece. I don't think it can fly.
I'm gonna fly it today.
Oh boy. This we gotta see. Now in the war, as I pointed out a minute ago, we had small airplanes. We did not have, this is World War II now. There's a lot of wars, I know. We're in World War II. That's where we're at. All right. So in World War II, we did not have helicopters yet. We didn't have any helicopters. We didn't have them online good enough until the Korean War. So we used small airplanes like this. They were called grasshoppers. The Arankas, the Taylor Crafts, Piper Cubs.
Why do they call it a Cub? Doesn't look like a bear to me.
It was called a Cub by Walter Jomino, who redesigned a Taylorcraft E2, and actually the E2 was called a Cub by Clarence Taylor. It was called an E2 Cub, and so it was modified. Clarence Taylor didn't like that design at all in 1936, and so he said, I don't like that thing at all. But Bill Piper, William Piper, founded his whole company on the Piper Cub. He said, I love it. And of course, it's one of the favorites of everybody today. So Sam Bingham, our sound technician, will drop a rope and a hook on this pass. And I'll tell you other uses for this airplane as we watch the rope and the hook come out. Remember, no helicopters, so we use these little airplanes called grasshoppers in World War II. Okay, there's your rope and your hook. Now he's going to turn around, come back into the wind. These were used for artillery spotting, photography, of course, flying over the enemy, taking pictures of them, transporting injured warriors or injured sailors, Marines, soldiers. We could put a stretcher in the back of these things and actually carry a wounded troop off the field to the medics.
Wounded pilots too after I shot them down.
Yes, and there was also some adventuresome fellows who put bazookas, mounted bazookas in the struts and actually destroyed German tanks by sneaking in over the trees just like this. Now let's see if we pick up the mail. Now this is an actual reenactment of how we picked up and dropped off the mail in World War II. There it goes.
That gives me an idea. Have you seen Fifi?
You seen Fifi? Yes. What are you going to do with Fifi?
You'll see.
Oh boy. Now I've had, most of them are passed on now. Our flying circus was founded in 1970. Next year will be our 50th year, by World War II pilots. And like I said, most have passed on, but we're still going on. And we've had World War II pilots in the audience sitting right where you're sitting, saying, I flew that in World War II, just like that. I did that to take the mail to the troops, and remember, it was a world war. There were millions and millions and millions of troops, our American troops all around the world, and we had to get the mail to them somehow and pick up their mail and bring it back home. And this is how it was done. So here's the incoming mail. The sergeant says, gather around, fellas. And here comes the mail. Mail call. That would be a welcome sight, wouldn't it? You're over there, thousands of miles from home, and here comes a letter from Mom and Dad. Sam Bingham will bring that around and land, and we will go from, we're going to do a little time warp here. We're going to go from the very slow Piper Cub, again designed in 1936, off of Clarence Taylor's Taylorcraft. So we're going to do a time warp. This airplane will land. We're back in a 1936 design. Now we're going to bring it up to a present day design, an airplane built in, let's see, what was it, 2011, I think. There were only a few of these built, 20. MXS, built down in Wilkes-Barre, North Carolina, totally built of carbon fiber, composite propeller, variable pitch propeller, constant speed prop. Let me explain the constant speed prop. Driving in my car, if I set the cruise control to 55, the car will keep going at 55 as the automatic transmission keeps changing gears. The engine keeps at the same RPM. You can sit there and watch it. I've watched it in mine, and the 6-speed transmission will just keep changing gears. Well, that's the way the constant speed propeller does. The engine is turning at the same RPM, but the propeller is constantly changing pitch to keep the airplane at the same speed. The MXS being flown by world-renowned Scott Francis. And you can hear him if you listen carefully behind you. 1,260 pounds empty. Performing weight is 1,500.